I've seen different videos where they were talking about different things that he said in the chat. He was alluding to it, kind of taking credit or, oh, it was my doppelganger, stuff like this. But they're saying here now that he did admit to it, confessed in the chat of the Discord. So let's check this out here.
We begin with Garrett Tenney live at the Utah County Jail in Spanish Fork with all the breaking details on this investigation. Hi, Garrett.
Carly, good morning to you. We have learned that the suspect told at least several individuals that he was planning to assassinate Charlie Kirk. In one of those instances, it was in a note he left for his romantic partner. In another, it was
And we heard about the note being destroyed.
Text message to a separate individual. Neither person has been charged, but they could be down the road as the investigation continues. Here's FBI Director Kash Patel describing one of those messages last night on Hannity.
We've collected information where, through witness interviews from the FBI and local law enforcement, that he essentially admitted after the shooting and assassination of Charlie Kirk, the suspect admitted to it. But I will say what was found in terms of information, a text message exchange, where the suspect specifically stated that he had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and he was going to do that. And when
I do remember hearing that.
Asked why, he said some hatred cannot be negotiated with.
The alleged assassin was an avid gamer and very active on Discord, which is a popular messaging platform used by a lot of gamers. We've learned that shortly before the 22-year-old turned himself in, he confessed to assassinating Charlie Kirk in a group chat on Discord. In messages obtained by the Washington Post, he wrote, "Hey guys, I have bad news for you all. It was me at UVU yesterday. I'm sorry for all of this. I'm surrendering through a..."
Yeah, this is new.
Share a friend in a few moments. Thanks for all the good times and laughs. You've been all amazing. Thank you all for everything.
Wow.
We also know just hours before those messages, in a different chat group, the alleged assassin was joking with friends who said he looked really similar to the man the FBI was searching for. Here's Kash Patel on Fox and Friends describing how those chat groups are factoring into this investigation.
Wow.
People think we can just get in these group chats and immediately find out who's in them. And there are scores of people in this Discord chat room. But we have to effectuate legal process. We have to go out there with search warrants so that if prosecutors want to later use this evidence, it's not tainted by being illegally obtained.
That's crazy. They throw stuff out like that. I understand it. And at the same time, just certain situations where it's like, okay, he didn't cross the T and dot the I when he got this evidence, but clearly this is legitimate evidence. I've seen that in several trials where people have been let go or their sentences have been lessened and they clearly did something horrific. But because this guy didn't lick the envelope when he handed it to the, you know what I mean? It's like it's...
Accused killer is expected to be formally charged today, and those charges are expected to include aggravated murder, which does bring the possibility of the death penalty. And in Utah, that can either be by lethal injection
or
squad. By firing squad.
Firing squad.
Carly?
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
How many people are going to be pulling for and pushing for the firing squad? Everyone is. Everyone's going to be saying an eye for an eye. That's what you did to him. That you did, and they're going to tell him.
Garrett Tenney, live for us in Spanish Fork, Utah. Garrett, we will be watching. Thank you so much. Let's bring in former Assistant FBI Director Chris Swecker. Chris, thanks for joining us. We learned a whole lot yesterday, and almost all of it had to do with this alleged assassin's digital footprint, messages that he sent beforehand saying that he was going to commit this crime, and apparently messages that he sent afterwards admitting to it. So how are investigators going to be using these messages to build their case?
They don't really need to. I mean, it's plain and simple. Right there. You know what I mean? Like, it's the easiest case building possible, it sounds like, with him admitting it and everything.
Well, it'll be a very important part of their case. I mean, this is shaping up to be a very, very strong case. You have,
in other words, easy to build.
It's been piling up. You have these statements in the gaming chat room, if you will. The FBI has been gathering all this evidence in, as well as the other investigative agencies, and it really does paint a picture. So you knit all that together for a prosecution, and there just aren't a whole lot of defenses to this type of evidence. What I think Cash Patel was correct. What people wonder, why isn't the FBI in these chat rooms monitoring things that are going on? It's just not that easy. They need a tip.
I wonder why they put that spotlight on him like that. Like we can't see him coming off the roof.
From a member of the chat room or a member of the public that's had access, because they can't just go willy-nilly surfing through all these social media sites and chat rooms and gaming sites. There are DOJ guidelines and FBI guidelines and constitutional guidelines that prohibit that.
But Chris, now that we have those guidelines and those requirements met, the FBI is
What if they have to say that as a formality? Because, it's too many people are kind of like, they be watching this anyway. What are y'all talking about? You know what I mean? Like, oh, we got these formalities to go through. Yeah, but, we've heard all these different stories about government agencies wanting backdoors to be able to look into these different, websites and everything. So it sounds like formality.
Through the digital footprint, not just of the alleged assassin, but those with whom he communicated. So, Chris, to me, the real question at this point is what charges could this possible extended network face if they are found to have radicalized Tyler Robinson into killing Charlie Kirk?
Yeah, it opens up the possibility of a conspiracy type of charge. That's going to be very difficult. This type of charge is very difficult if it's encouragement or passive, just listening to the information and not reporting it to.
Because a lot of the stuff that I saw, it seemed like they were just. It was kind of like, like type of talk that. Oh yeah, it was my doppelganger. Oh my God, yeah, it kind of looks like me. Oh, and they're like, oh man, like that's what it seemed like. But I don't know if of course I didn't see all the chat, so I don't think it would be a conspiracy thing with all of them, but I don't know what else is in the chat. So if people were egging them on for real, not just joking, you're like, yeah, man, do it. Take a picture, like crap like that. Sometimes people are just joking. Nobody's going to really they don't think nobody's going to really do nothing, So I'd have to see the chat though.
Law enforcement, that's a tough one, but that's something that I'm sure they're looking at very hard. If it's after the fact and they didn't say anything, that's one thing. Maybe accessory after the fact. If they were privy to pre-planning and information that would have helped help law enforcement intervene and prevent this, then it starts to get a little bit stronger. So I think it remains to be seen here. It could be a stretch, but let's see what happens. I think they have a better chance of doing that type of case in federal court.
So one of the charges he is currently facing, it could change later today, but one of the charges he was arrested on is aggravated murder. And you heard Garrett say that does meet the criteria for the death penalty in Utah. Do you see that is where this case is going?
Of course.
Absolutely. I mean, that's been mentioned in press conferences.
People want an eye for an eye.
It's been, the governor made it a specific point to mention that. And I think that's one of the reasons.
This is way too high profile, too.
The state charge is much stronger as they want to leave that death penalty on the table. There is a federal death penalty, but it's a little bit more difficult.
You know what I see happening? People celebrating after the firing squad, if that happens. I can see it. I can see it as almost a get back, as payback. I see it.
Recall. So, and Utah has had executions in the not too recent past. So it's up there for it's and I would not be surprised at all to see the death penalty enhancement in the indictment itself.
And some notes on what people can expect later today. FBI Director Kash Patel set to appear before the Senate Judiciary Committee. He's going to obviously face questions on this probe. There's also going to be an appearance by this suspect, 5 p.m. Eastern time. It'll be virtually streamed from the Utah County Jail. There's also going to be a press conference held at 2 p.m. Eastern time to talk about the charges filed in this case.
I was going to do a reaction to that, but it was like really hard to hear the questions. Like I kind of skipped to the middle so I could see him answering questions, and I was like, they're not going to really be able to hear that. So it's not going to be beneficial as a video, really.
So we will be watching all of it as it unfolds, as we know, Chris, that you will be as well. Chris Swecker, live for us. Thank you so much.
I'm Steve.
Okay. YouTube changed their player on desktop. Phone seems to be, but yeah, this is definitely not what I'm used to with YouTube. It looks different. But yeah. So it is what it is. He's facing the death penalty. He admitted to it in the chat. It sounds like an open and shut case, pretty much. So, own family turned him in. I mean, a note to the lover. I mean, it's sounds almost like some paint by numbers type of stuff. It's like the motives and who he was involved with. Like, you know, a lot of people thought the assassin was going to be trans or something like that, but he's still LGBTQ community, but he was involved with someone that's trans, because they knew that Charlie got a lot of hate from the trans community, certain people in the trans community, you know, just like any other community out there. I think that the LGBTQ community, the majority of them are good people. So, you know, but you always have a specific few in every single community out there that are off the chain, with certain exceptions, because certain groups out there, the whole meaning of the group is like hate, you know, or radicalized, you know, stuff. And but anyway, post the comments down below. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you soon.